How's it going, everybody? Good morning to you. It's Carpo, and well, today is July 22nd, 2015, or something like that. Maybe 21st, I don't know. I'm going to do a little bit of reading today out of a book, and the intention of this video, first off, is to dispel some of the myths that you may have heard and that I have heard over the years concerning the Book of Thoth, which could also be called the Book of Hermes if you want to translate it into the Book of Enoch, which, of course, they're totally different books. Here's the thing. Thoth is thought to be the same as Enoch by many, but the Book of Enoch and the Book of Thoth are different books as far as we know. These were generational writings that were lost to time, and we're doing our best to reconstruct them. Over the past 25 years or so, I've been fascinated with Freemasonry, Illuminati symbolism, all these different things I heard about back in, I think, 1997 or 96 when I first learned about these things. And so it's been almost 20 years, I guess, maybe not, 20 years since I started really getting into these things. And over the years I've heard, there was a time when I thought Freemasons were the evil, and they were trying to dominate the world, and I asked myself one day, why do I think this? Why do I believe this? Who is telling me this? And is it damaging to society as a whole? To believe that a group of mostly altruistic, God-seeking, tolerant, accepting people can be considered to be an evil, dominating world force. And I went back and forth on the issue for some time. And I read a lot. I got very involved with Manly P. Hall, Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, as well as many philosophers and theologians and historians, and listened to a lot of lectures and college courses on these very things. Excuse me. Finally came to the conclusion that there's a lot of speculation out there and a lot of nonsense, but on top of that, there's a lot of made-up stuff. For example, I guess I can't get into the details without making this video really long, but many of the articles, news articles, and claims of these dominating people that want to control you and run your life, they're often misrepresented. For example, this article about Barack Obama being a Freemason. Now everybody's running around saying Obama's a Freemason. But he's not. He is not. Factually not a Freemason. And you can look up, do the homework if you want, but the thing is most people don't want to. And when it comes to the Book of Thoth, this is no exception. Everyone wants to think that they have this figured out, that they can somehow translate this information or recite it to people. But here are the facts on the Book of Thoth according to Manly P. Hall, and I just thought I would read this because I found it really interesting. It's a short little chapter, it's long, but the part I'm going to read is short. Actually, I was going to start with the Alexandria, but they were talking about the original Hermetic fragments from Hermeticism, and it talks about their philosophy, and the last chapter says, or the last paragraph says, one of the greatest tragedies of the philosophic world was the loss of nearly all the 42 books of Hermes mentioned in the foregoing. These books disappeared during the burning of Alexandria, for the Romans, and later the Christians, realized that until these books were eliminated, they could never bring the Egyptians into subjection. The volumes which escaped the fire were buried in the desert, and their location is now known to only a few initiates of the secret schools. And perhaps these books were, perhaps the Book of Enoch was one of these, because it was found later. But I'm going to go into this and just get it over with here. The Book of Thoth. While Hermes still walked the earth with men, he entrusted to his chosen successors the sacred Book of Thoth. This work contained the secret processes by which the regeneration of humanity was to be accomplished, and also served as the key to his other writings. Nothing definitive is known concerning the contents of the Book of Thoth, other than that its pages were covered with strange hieroglyphic figures and symbols, which gave to those acquainted with their use unlimited power over the spirits of the air and the subterranean divinities. When certain areas of the brain are stimulated by the secret processes of the mysteries, the consciousness of man is extended, and he is permitted to behold the immortals and enter into the presence of the superior gods. The Book of Thoth described the method whereby this stimulation was accomplished. In truth, therefore, it was the key to immortality. According to legend, the Book of Thoth was kept in a golden box in the inner sanctuary of the temple. There was but one key, and this was in the possession of the Master of the Mysteries, the highest initiate of the Hermetic Arcanum. He alone knew what was written in the secret book. The Book of Thoth was lost to the ancient world with the decay of the mysteries, but its faithful initiates carried it sealed in the sacred casket into another land. This could very well be the Ark of the Covenant. Who knows? The book is still in existence and continues to lead the disciples of this age into the presence of the immortals. No other information can be given to the world concerning it now, but the apostolic succession from the first Hierophant, initiated by Hermes himself, remains unbroken to this day, and those who are peculiarly fitted. Why do I always have such a hard time with that word? Those who are peculiarly fitted to serve the immortals may discover this priceless document, if they will search sincerely and tirelessly for it. It has been asserted that the Book of Thoth, in reality, is the mysterious Tarot of the Bohemians, a strange, emblematic book of 78 leaves, which has been in possession of the gypsies since the time when they were driven from their ancient temple, the Seraphim. According to the secret societies, or the secret histories, the gypsies were originally Egyptian priests. There are now in the world several secret schools privileged to initiate candidates into the mysteries, but in nearly every instance they lighted their altar fires from the flaming torch of Hermes in this Book of Thoth revealed all to mankind the one way, and for all ages the wise of every nation and every faith have reached immortality by the way established by Hermes in the midst of the darkness for the redemption of humankind. Now I could go on reading and reading, because this book is this is a big book, but I read sections of this book. This isn't the kind of book you sit down and just read. It's the kind of book you read a chapter and wait a month or a year and read another one. And I'm fortunate to be able to do that. I've been reading things that I've read years past, that I'm gaining new light from, and I'm starting to understand these things. And the part that really got me there was when he was talking about those who see the symbols in the book. It allows them to tap into the deeper mysteries. That the symbolism encodes every archetype within this terrestrial realm. All of the symbols that we've used, we've transferred into religions, and this is well known, but it's become so flooded with people's metaphors and interpretations that you can pretty much turn on any documentary about religious symbolism or any YouTube video, and there are going to be a million interpretations of what the sun itself means, or what a crown is, or what a rose is, or what a triangle, or what a square in a triangle means. All these different things are not meant to be taught. They're meant to be understood. And I really, really tried to learn symbolism in years past. But once I started to write it myself, doing geometry, and seeing where these symbols come from, I started to make more sense of it. But only once I started to analyze the sizes of, or what shapes were being used. For example, the triangle. Triangle is the simplest shape. I mean, when people say the triangle represents this, it represents that, the triangle represents everything. The triangle represents terrestrial life. It's the simplest shape that can be fit together in a two-dimensional pattern. If you only have two lines, you can't make a two-dimensional shape. Well, unless you're using a, whatever. You know what I'm saying. It's the simplest straight-sided shape. And the cube tends to represent the Earth. A lot of people would say that the cube represents Earth. or terrestrial existence. So here you have the triangle and the cube, which both have similar representations. But also the triangle means the Trinity. Some say the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Many different terminologies to describe this. And what I'm getting at here is that one person could spend years thinking a symbol means a certain thing, but if you've learned what that symbol means, you've only been shown. It's like being told being told how to make candles or something. Somebody could tell you, but until you actually do it, you don't understand the process as well. If you want to perfect it, you have to actually get your feet wet, which means you figure the symbolism out for yourself, but ultimately we can't be left to our own devices, so we have people who are helping us on these things. And these are the great teachers. The great mysteries have been promoted by great men, and they want mankind to learn and move beyond his, obsession with this 3D life that we live. So there is an ongoing battle, spiritual battle, if you will, between those who believe that there is something greater, or a God, if you will, and those who believe that there's absolutely nothing else and that we are just here and that this is heaven, that we are gods, if you will. And in between, there's the belief that we are all potential gods or potential parts of God, without being arrogant about it, to realize that, in other words, everything needs everything else. It's just a system that we live in. I'd really like to share more of this kind of stuff with people, but I feel like I'm just adding to more confusion on the internet about what all this stuff means. And I've realized over the last year or so, because I haven't really talked much about these types of things, I just kind of laugh when I see things that, when the universe is communicating with me, I understand it, and I kind of laugh it off when I don't understand it, but at the same time try to learn and ask, how can I understand this better? I fought with my own reality in my mind about, am I creating a delusion by believing that there's a greater force out there? Or am I doing it just for self-comfort, to believe that there is something greater? Or am I doing it because I truly want to live in the light of what the universe expects from me or wants from me? And this is a difficult thing to express and explain to people. But I think that those who know what I'm talking about know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've gone from being, say, a non-believer in God or in heaven or in other realms, which I never really was a non-believer or a believer, but if you've been a non-believer in, say, God, the idea of God, and then you start to see God and feel God and understand it, but realize that it's not something that can be put down on paper, then you start to find people who, when you have a conversation with a person who says, well, you're just deluding yourself, you're just, making things up in your head, and you're creating your own patterns and your own delusions, and this is true because of the way the brain works. And I've started to realize that it's okay. It's not a delusion, it's what I consider a mind restructuring, a mental restructuring or rewiring, or they call it neuron, the neurons that fire together, wire together. So the more you're focused on finding your truth, the closer you'll come to finding it. The more resistant you are to outside influences, the more that will program itself into your way of thinking. So to remain completely open, I think, is the key. And to realize that this book of Thoth itself may never have been a book at all. That's one of the things we have to remember. It could be an idea, an archetype. Before I go, I wanted to mention the Tarot of the Bohemians they mentioned in the end there. That kind of blew me away because I have that book, and I heard somebody say it might not be legitimate, but I've gone back and looked at it since, and I'm re-looking at the Arcanum and the Tarot deck, and starting to piece some of these things together. It's pretty fun. So anyway, I'm almost out of time, so I guess I'll wish you all a great day, and talk to you soon.